They say stillness is a virtue, but for most of my life it felt like a sin. It felt lazy, unproductive, wasteful. I used to feel guilty every time I even thought about slowing down. I was the hustle queen. Hustle for success, hustle for recognition, hustle for everyone but myself. And then one day, I realized all that hustling was slowly killing me. I wasn't choosing peace. I was choosing burnout. And burnout is just fear wearing a power suit. For years, I believed that my worth was tied to my productivity. Every moment had to be filled, every minute accounted for. I wore my busy schedule like a badge of honor, thinking it proved my value to the world. But in reality, I was running on empty, chasing an illusion of success that always seemed just out of reach. I remember the day it all came crashing down. I was 42, sitting in my corner office, staring at a to-do list that seemed to stretch into infinity. My phone was buzzing with notifications, my inbox overflowing, and my calendar packed with back-to-back meetings. And in that moment, I felt nothing. No pride, no satisfaction, just a hollow emptiness that echoed through my entire being. That's when I realized I had been sprinting through life, never pausing to catch my breath or enjoy the view. I had been so focused on the destination that I had completely missed the journey. And what was it all for? A bigger paycheck? A fancier title? At what cost? I started to question everything. Why did I feel the need to constantly prove myself? Why couldn't I just be? The thought of slowing down terrified me. What if people thought I was lazy? What if I fell behind? What if I lost everything I had worked so hard for? But then a wise friend asked me a simple question that changed everything. What are you running from? I didn't have an answer, and that silence spoke volumes. I began to explore the concept of stillness, not as a luxury, but as a necessity. I learned that rest isn't the opposite of productivity. It's the foundation of it. That taking time to be present isn't selfish. It's essential. That slowing down doesn't mean giving up. It means tuning in. It wasn't easy. Years of conditioning don't disappear overnight. I had to unlearn the toxic belief that my value was tied to my output. I had to face the fear that if I stopped moving, I might disappear. I had to confront the uncomfortable truth that much of my busyness was just a distraction from deeper issues I didn't want to face. But slowly, deliberately, I began to embrace stillness. I started small. 5 minutes of meditation in the morning, a walk in nature without my phone, saying no to commitments that didn't align with my values. And you know what? The world didn't end. In fact, it opened up in ways I never imagined. I found that in the quiet moments, creativity flourished. Ideas that had been drowned out by the constant noise of hustle culture finally had space to emerge. I rediscovered passions I had long forgotten, buried under endless to-do lists and arbitrary deadlines. My relationships deepened. When I wasn't constantly checking my phone or thinking about the next task, I could truly listen to my loved ones. I could be present in a way I hadn't been in years. The quality of my connections improved exponentially, even as the quantity decreased. My work, ironically, became more impactful. By giving myself time to rest and recharge, I brought a clearer mind and renewed energy to my projects. I was able to focus on what truly mattered, rather than getting lost in the weeds of busy work. But perhaps the most revolutionary change was internal. As I embraced stillness, I began to reconnect with myself. The constant chatter of should and must quieted down, replaced by a deeper understanding of who I am and what I truly want from life. I realized that for too long, I had been living according to someone else's definition of success. Society told me that as a woman over 40, I needed to prove my relevance by working harder, achieving more, constantly reinventing myself. But in the stillness, I found a different truth, that my worth isn't determined by my productivity, my age, or anyone else's expectations. This journey taught me that rest is not just a personal indulgence, it's a radical act of self-love and a powerful statement against a culture that glorifies burnout. By choosing stillness, we reject the notion that our value lies in our output. We reclaim our time, our energy, and our right to simply exist without justification. For women especially, embracing rest can feel like a revolution. We've been conditioned to be the caretakers, the multitaskers, the ones who keep everything running smoothly. Taking time for ourselves often comes with a hefty side of guilt. But what if we reframed rest as an act of resistance? A way to model self-care for the next generation, to show that we don't have to sacrifice ourselves on the altar of productivity. This doesn't mean we stop striving or growing. It means we do so from a place of wholeness, not desperation. We pursue our goals because they align with our values, not because we're trying to fill a void or prove our worth. We work hard when it matters, and we rest without apology when we need to. Embracing stillness isn't about becoming passive or giving up on our dreams. It's about creating space for what truly matters. It's about tuning out the noise of the world so we can hear our own inner wisdom. It's about recognizing that sometimes the most productive thing we can do is absolutely nothing. So to all the women out there feeling the pressure to constantly hustle, to prove their worth through endless activity, I invite you to join the stillness revolution. Give yourself permission to slow down, to breathe, to simply be. It might feel uncomfortable at first, even scary. But in that quiet space, you might just discover a strength and clarity you never knew you had. Remember, stillness is not laziness. Rest is not a luxury. They are essential components of a life well lived. They are the soil in which our dreams take root and our true selves flourish. In a world that demands constant motion, choosing stillness is an act of courage and self-love. So take a deep breath. Slow down. Be still. You have nothing to prove and everything to gain. The revolution starts with you.